Hey everyone.
Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, I'm Sarah Lawson. This is my husband Danny, and you're watching Ask Sarah, my weekly Q&A chat. Thank you everybody so much for joining us tonight for Ask Sarah. Danny's been away for a couple of weeks, so he's back on the show. I did a couple Ask Sarah shows during the holidays solo, but he's going to be gone again next week because I have a special secret guest next week you don't want to miss.
What, again?
Yes, someone in the
How many
quilting.
times can you fire me?
Someone in the quilting industry. One of my mentors. She's really important to me. And well, you're important to me as well. But my guest for next week is also important to me. I see Judy's watching from Hawaii. Angeline's watching also, and Charlotte from Tennessee. So before we get started, I wanted to send some condolences out to Jen. I saw Jen was watching, and her father just passed away. So sending prayers for courage and comfort your way, Jen. So sorry for your loss. Also, a reminder, 2 days are left to send in a recipe, your very best cooking recipe. Community member Robin Dunn, who's watching the show, I saw her before we got started in the chat. She's compiling all of the So Sweetness community recipes in a PDF, which we'll be distributing for free. So you have 2 days left to email your very best recipe. What are you shaking your head for?
Read the comment.
Oh, okay. 2 days left to send in your very best recipe, and the instructions for how to do that are linked to in the description, so just check that link. And we have a special email address that you can email your recipe to, as well as some very short instructions. Basically, we just want to get your name and where you live to attach that to your recipe. Another reminder, Laura says, my aunt passed away last night. I'm so sorry, Laura. Last night, oh gosh, that must have been really sudden. I'm very sorry for your loss as well. Another reminder, Michelle Graham is hosting a swap for Valentine's Day. It's the Cupid's Global So Sweetness swap, and the information, if you'd like to join in on that swap, is also linked to in the description, and you have 5 days left to sign up for that swap. So just until January 13th to sign up if you're interested in participating. I've been busily working on the next 4-pack video bundle. We'll be releasing 4 brand new videos to go along with 4 PDF patterns that'll be released at the end of January. The patterns and videos will be available as part of the bundle as well as sold separately. And there's 2 new patterns in there. The Park Sling backpack, which is a single strap backpack, and then a knitting bag. So I came up with 3 different styles of bag in the same pattern. The other 2 patterns that will be included in that bundle are the Reason to bag, which is a travel bag in 3 different sizes, and the Aragon bag, which is a diaper bag. And I spent most of the day today reworking that pattern because I had some requests. Honestly, the Aragon bag was released in the very first year that I started selling patterns, and not that it has errors, but I decided to sort of spruce it up. Looking through the pattern, I realized I shortened it as far as brevity. I spent a lot of steps just kind of covering the same portions of the pattern, so I cut it down significantly. The same process in the pattern, I just cut it down.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What does gravity have to do with that?
Brevity.
Yeah,
like too long, brevity. So like for example, I spent maybe 3 steps explaining what I would currently or normally explain in a single step. So I cut the pattern down from like 60 steps to 35 steps just because I was...
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah. So I didn't cut any steps out. I just condensed it a bit, I would have to say. Updated it. I also updated the pattern pieces to make them look nice and pretty in my current drafting software. Not that there's problems with the original pattern pieces. I just basically redrew them in my current software. So I'm
going to ask this question ahead of time because I know it's going to come through.
Okay.
If they already own the Aragon and now you made these update changes, can they just re-download it and they have the updated version?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you purchase the pattern by signing into your account, using your account to make the purchase on my website, when that updated pattern for the Aragon bag comes out, you'll be able to download that from your account, provided that you made the purchase by using your account. Sometimes people make the purchase using guest checkout. In that case, you just need to email me and I can verify your purchase. If you purchased that pattern in the past from either Etsy or Craftsy, that will also update automatically and you can find that in your account. So I'm here to help when that pattern comes out. Want to make sure everyone gets that updated pattern because that's the pattern that I'll be using for the video. And
I've seen people asked about, is it a drop-in lining?
It is not, but I also eliminated the binding, so I think you'll be happy with it. It's neither a drop-in lining nor a bound lining, so no bias binding to finish it. So I think everyone will be happy with that. I know Pat, especially Pat from Florida, was requesting that. Is that who you're talking?
Pat asked if it was a drop-in lining, and someone else asked right after. Christina.
No drop-in lining and no binding for the lining. Basically, the final stages of the pattern, you're sewing everything right sides together. So hopefully that will make everyone happy. Did I answer that question fully for you? I think I did.
I think so too.
Okay. One more thing that I'll be updating in the pattern because I condensed my writing in the pattern. I'll also be taking brand new step photos. Again, there's no problem with the original, so if you happen to be using an original to make the bag, you won't have an issue, but I just felt like since it's been 6 years, it's time for an update, and I'll be refreshing the photos because my photography skills have slightly increased in the past 6 years, so I would like to put my best foot forward since we're doing a video for that one, and those are the changes as far as I'm aware. Also, after we release the 4-pack video bundle, I'll be starting up a brand new project called Book Club sometime in February. It'll be a 6-month book club, so every month I'll be talking about, reviewing, and including you all on the live shows. I think I'll be doing it on the Tuesday show in a fiction novel that will be sewing or fabric related. So I have some books that I have planned to talk about in the book club. Also, I'll be debuting some brand new projects and videos as part of the book club. So really excited about that. I have some great things in mind. Sometime in February. I thought it would be my Valentine's Day gift to you. But every month, like I said, a brand new book to talk about.
To me?
Well, all of you. So every
month. What's my gift?
Your gift is...
Do tell.
I don't know. Well, you'll need to start sewing so you can make these 6 brand new projects.
Someone asked, how's my bag coming? I'm not starting the sling bag until we have a video for it, so I could slowly go along. Because I know Sarah's gonna be like, I'm like, can you help me with this? You said you're gonna do it yourself, and she'll have nothing to do with it.
You could just watch the video and then.
I know, that's why I'm saying I have to wait for the video.
It'll be like I'm right there with you.
But you will be right there with me, literally. I'll call him Violet for some assistance.
Oh, so
We're a
funny.
team, me and Violet.
All right, so Danny, on the Tuesday show, Danny's second favorite part of the show is we're going to invite all of the bag ladies and bag dudes to let us know in the comments. Go ahead and type right now in the comments, either bag lady or bag dude. Since I have the laptop over here tonight, I'm going to be glancing over to the side and seeing all those comments come through. I see a good one. Denise said Danny's gift is having you. I agree with Denise. Thank you, Denise. Oh, I see someone else. Kay says you have her.
It's finally nice to see people saying, Danny looking great. Love that smile.
Here's a question
Danny's so
for you.
funny.
A question just for you came through.
I was trying to, focus on, people not saying I'll have my resting bee face on today or I'm not looking tired. So I'm trying not to stare at the screen so much, look at comments. I'm, trying to mix it up a little bit. I'll post your question 1 second, sir.
Okay.
Danny, question for you. Over the weekend, a lot of people commented on buffering issues with the videos. Some folks blamed it on the MacBook. However, I experienced the same buffering on Sunday. There was no issues on Monday. Any thoughts of wisdom? If you ever experience buffering, I would do 3 things. It might be more. I'm just winging it. We're going 3. 1, restart your computer. Restarting computer fixes so many things. When we first logged on tonight, I had a problem where it wasn't displaying our second monitor over on the side. Restarted my computer, it fixed it. So 2, if you're continuing to have that problem, I would run a speed test. You can do it through Google. You just put speed test in like a Google search, click the link, and see what your speeds are. It depends what you're viewing at, but I think you want 7 megabits or megabytes. We gotta look at 7 MB, and that will be for 1080 streaming. So you need that minimum. If you're not reaching that number, you want to lower the quality. You can go down, I think, to 360 or 240.
360.
360.
Yep.
That will help you a ton if you're having buffering. The site we use is, what is it called, sir?
Vimeo.
Vimeo. It's a huge company. They rarely have problems, but if you, so you check step 1, step 2, you can always Google Vimeo problem, Vimeo problems, and it'll say if there's an issue. That's where we run all of our stuff. It's not like it's on our home computers. It's like sort of YouTube, as where they host the video content, and they actually large musicians will have their content on Vimeo and stream to YouTube. Was a popular way of doing it. So if that's the issue, one of those 3 things, then check for the problems. And if it's not that,
you can always email me, Sara at soulsweetness.com, Sara with no H. But
there's just so many variables that could be a problem. Your router might be an issue. I mean, there's a lot of different things. So hopefully one of those things do fix it.
But yeah, the restart on your device or computer is the easiest for sure because it only takes a couple seconds. And like Danny said, it happened to us tonight with our own computer, so
sure.
it happens to everybody. I wanted to send a thank you to those that have been recommending products for me to review on Social Sunday recently. A few people recommended OD Coat. I'll be talking about that on an upcoming Social Sunday.
I'm interested in that too. It's like waterproofing, right?
Yep. I've been meaning to demonstrate how to use edge coat on the edges of your raw cuts, either cork, leather, or vinyl. So I'll be doing that sometime soon. So I really do take your recommendations to heart. I appreciate when you recommend products to me, and I do write them down and keep a list. I might not get to your recommendation immediately because I do have, depending on the week, I do have quite a list going. But I always read all emails, respond to all emails, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So thank you. All right, let's get over to your pick of the week. I see someone said they loved my shirt. This was a birthday present a few years ago, and it's an iron imprint on the shirt. So it came like this. I didn't do this to my own shirt.
I remember I think Sarah was teaching somewhere, and she was ironing her shirt, and she left it too long, and it melted the outer shirt. And when I see that, it makes me think of that issue. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, I was teaching, and we were supposed to leave in 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, I'll iron my dress very last thing and then put it on so it looks really nice and non-wrinkly right before we go out the hotel room door. And the kids were with us on this trip. And I did iron an imprint of the iron directly through the back of the dress. So the dress was ruined. I couldn't wear it. I wore jeans and a t-shirt to the lecture, which is not my usual, what I would prefer to wear to a lecture, but...
Better than pajamas, right? So
better than pajamas. That's right. Exactly.
Could always be worse.
Yes.
My pick of the week is the gloss bag, and it's from Donna. And I think she did an awesome job with this. I love the purple, the turquoise in that. She did an amazing job. I love the whole layout. Obviously, I'm a Tula Pink fan, specifically that line.
Do you remember the name of the line of fabric that
Della
she used?
Luna?
Yep.
Is that supposed to be challenging?
No, I don't know.
Jeez, Sarah. Can't take you anywhere.
So great job, Donna, and thanks so much for posting that in the Facebook group. And feel free, don't be shy to post your finished photos in our Facebook group. We love seeing the photos come through. I know everyone else does too because we see a lot of comments on photos that are posted in the group. And
it's funny you say, like, you get inspiration because I could see, like, when I'm looking at the tester for the sling bag and I'm seeing some ideas how they're making their coordinating fabrics for the sling backpack. To me, I like it. Well, mine, I'm gonna actually look for fabric to make. I'm gonna do like a sci-fi theme one, I'm sure. But it's a large scale print for the lower third or 2/3, however you want to say it. I've seen a couple people do it, and it looks amazing. It's a large print, then like a blender across the top like this, and it brings your focus to it. So I got inspiration from it, and hey, I don't even sew, so I'm sure everyone likes to see finished projects.
So we'd like to invite you now, if you enjoy our live shows, our sewing tutorial videos, our bag making videos. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit that share button right now and share this sewing video with your other sewing friends on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we hope that you will subscribe so that you can be notified of our upcoming live shows and videos. And as always, if anything else, we do appreciate those likes either on Facebook or YouTube, and the like is the little thumbs up icon. So we really appreciate,
comment, subscribe.
Yes, we really appreciate that so very much. Also, before the show started, I saw some comments I think it was on YouTube before we started, about free motion quilting, and it got my wheels turning a little bit. And I was wondering if you might be interested as part of those free book club patterns and videos, maybe a pattern incorporating a little bit of free motion quilting, just a small bit to get you started or practicing if you've not done it before. So let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like that. Maybe I can hook up with one of my free motion quilting or long arming friends to come up with a really cool design that we can use on a pattern.
You know what's funny is that's my favorite part of a quilt is the free motion quilting. Or if it's not necessarily long arm quilting, whatever it may be. I think I could look at the back side of the quilt and just enjoy all the nice stitches and the way you get to the shapes from the other side and stuff. And
do you like different colors of threads?
I actually like variegated thread for that.
You do?
Yeah, where it just changes colors and stuff.
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool.
I know I did have a quilt, long arms in glow-in-the-dark thread, but that's one of the quilts that I sadly did not end up finishing it. It just needs some binding. But
which one's that?
The
Spider
Nightshade. I made a quilt in Tula Pink Nightshade, and the long arming was done in spider webs and spiders, but
Sarah
the thread
Diddy
was
made it, right?
Sara
Or
Diddy,
she did the quilting.
Yep, she did, and she used glow-in-the-dark thread.
Yep, very cool.
Okay, I see a lot of yeses coming through, so thank you for replying to that. Susan said, I missed what you said about book club. So starting in February, for 6 months, once every month, we'll have a book club for a sewing-related fiction book. And to go along with that book club event every month, I'll be having a new project and video to go along with that. So the first one I think is going to be a really fun take on a tote bag, using different fabrics. So if you're a quilter, I think you'll be into this. If you're not a quilter, I think you'll still be into it. Lynn
Maybe
says,
we might start quilting.
Lynn says, when is the new sling bag coming out? End of January, so I'm just going to go ahead and just pick January 31st because that's
The last day in January.
the furthest we can get in January.
And if it comes early, who knows?
Yeah, sometimes we do get it done early, but...
I was telling Sarah this week, I'm like, Sarah, I know you have 2 new patterns, this 4-pack bundle. Maybe we should film the 2 we have available right now. And she's like, nope, can't start until I get these all squared away. And I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be getting so close.
I just have a lot of pre-work to do before we get to the video part, and it felt like you were kind of hurrying me along, but I'm not there yet.
I was motivating you just to film 2 patterns.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't like. I'm not the last minute kind of person. I don't like to.
I'm not either, but I still.
Oh, I don't know, because I feel like our last few bundles have been like. The week of, we're just finishing them.
I know, but you don't realize I have to prep the fabric for the videos.
Oh, I see it.
And 2 of them are new patterns, so the new patterns are not completely finished yet. So, got to do that too.
I don't know.
Those are things you cannot help me with. So,
Definitely.
I guess you could cut out fabric, but I'm really particular how I like to lay my fabric out. I like to do it myself. So, I don't know if I need to ease up on that and turn that over to you, or if I should just do it right and do it myself.
Okay, Sarah. I'm pretty sure I can cut fabric out better than you. I'm not saying. I'm more of a perfectionist. Just saying.
Oh, I see it's Gwen's birthday. Happy birthday to you, Gwen. All right, so if you have a question for me, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll be answering some questions live, either a sewing-related question, bag-making-related question about a sewing notion or tool. Terry says, you tell him, Sarah. Kathy says, will you give us the book list ahead so we can get them ahead of time? That's a really good idea. Maybe I'll announce that maybe on Sunday. Book list. I do have my list.
Are you going to have books that are available digitally as well?
Yes.
Cool.
I believe they're all available as ebooks, so if you'd prefer to get that one. I'm trying to finalize the list because one of the books that I chose I feel is the most sewing appropriate out of the whole bunch, but
Are they all sewing related books?
Yes, that's what I just said. Sewing or fabric related. But they're fiction, so it's like a story, but somehow they worked in sewing or fabric or quilting or whatever. Gretchen said, I don't know.
Were you going to say something else? I didn't want to.
No, I was looking at the question you were going to put up, and I wasn't sure how to answer that, so I was thinking in my head. Gretchen says, what is a friendship braid? I'm not sure. Is that a quilt style of quilt pattern? I'm not entirely sure, but if you want to follow up with that in the comments. Dawn says, would the new knitter or crochet bag fit the Instant Pot? Where is it? I don't think so. No, it's.
Maybe the small 4-quart.
We did talk recently about the picnic in the park cooler, which is part of Minikins season 2, and the instant pot, the 6-quart instant pot. We did put it inside, and it fit. You just need to add 4.5 inches to the side panel, and then it'll fit completely with the lid closed. Bronwyn says, I have a question. I want to make piping out of cork. How does it work around corners with no bias? So while I did not make a bag with cork piping, I did make one with vinyl piping. The vinyl did not stretch, and that's the same case with the cork. It really doesn't. So you don't have to cut it on the bias. You can just cut it from selvage to selvage. And I feel like, because I did this on the Polaris bag, and I did it on the round one, as well as the round one was the vinyl piping, and the rectangular one was just the quilting cotton piping. I felt like it was super easy around the oval Polaris bag because it was just a continuous curve. But if you're going to do it on a bag like the Reason to bag, I'm guessing that's why you're asking, because I know you've been meaning to make that. I think it'll be completely fine with the cork piping. I think it'll look really awesome, actually. I believe Chrissy from Rock Baby Scissors made some Crimson and Clover train cases with the cork piping, but don't quote me on that. I just have a feeling that she did. Kathy says, what do you use to punch holes for the locks on a bag? I hope I'm using that word right. So if you're talking about twist locks, you can either punch the holes using, on my tabletop press, I have a die for punching really small holes. So I use that sometimes. Depending on the twist lock, you can also cut out not just the little screw holes, but kind of cut. So on a twist lock, there's that large circle opening, and the screws are usually on either side. If you want to, you can cut sort of an inward-facing V or like a triangle off the sides of the hole opening connected to where the screw holes are. So you'll technically be making just one hole instead of 3 separate holes. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Sorry,
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just agreeing.
I'm trying to illustrate. I'm trying to illustrate. I don't think I can. I don't know if you can see this.
Nope.
No.
You need a marker, Sarah.
Oh,
don't worry about it. You
okay.
can just here. Look, here's a hole.
I did
you
the
make
best
the
I
side
could.
circles.
Okay, no, they're not circles. They're triangles.
Triangles.
Where the screws are. That doesn't look like a triangle.
Because you do the circle. I'll do your triangles. Look.
I'm pretty sure I have a marker over here somewhere.
All right, so a friendship braid is a quilt pattern and a fun one too, Brenda says. I saw multiple people say that as well. Nice pink pants, Sarah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I don't have a thick marker in
Do
here.
the recipes have to be our original recipe or just a favorite?
That's a good question. Well, I'm thinking of copyright, and if it might be an issue with copyright if you don't have permission to share it, since we'll be distributing it for free. A lot of the recipes that I've seen come through are family recipes, like someone's mother's favorite recipe or something like that. That's a good question. I didn't even think about that before. I guess we should have. Marilyn says, where do we place our recipes? I have a coleslaw recipe from a 30 years ago restaurant. So if you check that, Marilyn, if you check that link in the description, there's a link with instructions on how to submit your recipe. So within those instructions is the email address you should send to, as well as a sample recipe, just so you know the format that we're looking for. And then we just would like your name and where you live, so we can include that in the recipe ebook.
Do you have a twist lock tutorial?
I think it's one of our older tutorials from last year, but I believe on the YouTube channel we do have a twist lock video. Oh, Patsy says, aren't recipes free domain? You know what? To be honest, I don't know, since I don't have a recipe blog and we're not in the business of a cooking website, so I'm not sure if they're free domain or not. Maybe someone...
We'll have to research this a little
bit.
So, Gwen says, if you change one thing, it's your recipe. So put a pinch instead of a dash.
Linda says, I keep trying to get the rivet press you demonstrated from Minkus Margot on Etsy, but they are on a break. Any other suggestions from where to get it? I've heard from our Facebook group that a lot of people also purchase from Gold Star Tools. I don't have any experiences. I don't have that particular press. But feel free to ask in the Facebook group. I'm sure those that have the press from Gold Star Tools we'll be happy to leave a comment. So if you're on Facebook, just go ahead and post it in the Facebook group if you want to know. Mandy says, what is the difference between fold-over elastic and other types like knit elastic? Could either work for the DAB essential oil case travel size? So yes, the fold-over elastic will work in that. Also the knit elastic. It basically is just the look of elastic, and in some cases the tightness or the elasticity of the elastic. So the fold-over elastic is a bit more prettier looking. It comes in different colors, hence the name fold over elastic, because often people use it to fold over either an edge of mesh or a seam so that you see a nice pretty edge on both sides of the fold over elastic. There's knit elastic, there's no roll elastic. No roll elastic is really helpful, especially in waistbands of pajama pants, so that when you throw those pajama pants in the washing machine, you don't have to tack down the side edges of the elastic. It won't roll. Hence the name no roll.
Sounds like interfacing. There's so many different options and choices.
There's each has its own purpose, I suppose. Barbara says, thank you for all your help in answering my email personally. Oh, you're welcome. I do answer every single email that comes through. I admit sometimes, especially on the weekend, I might need an extra day to get to it, but I do always reply to all emails. Melanie says, Sarah shows how to install the twist lock for the Oriole bag. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Melanie. Yes. That Oriole bag does have a twist lock in it, and that will be in the video on YouTube and on my website.
People are saying Tandy leather is a great press.
Okay.
I saw a lot of people. I think Nikki Reinhardt said Gold Star. She likes it.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like Gold Star's a good one. Sounds like. Hi, Sarah and Danny. I'm looking for a pattern, either square or rectangle, with dividers to hold stuff like rubber bands, clips. Thank you for your help. Dividers. So I probably need a little more information. I'm not sure if you're looking for a flat square pattern like the Creative Maker supply case, which has like a zipper
it's
on
like
zipper
desktop
and flat.
cubes, small style.
Oh,
look what she's saying.
But dividers
for rubber bands and clips, really small. Maybe like the inside of an Oslo, or
maybe like the Oslo craft bag, but smaller. Oh, that would be really cool. A really small Oslo craft bag, but just like a long rectangle with maybe like 3 different spaces for stuff. Oh, that's an awesome idea. I really love that. Judy says, would you ever consider doing a short demo showing how to change the needle plate on the Juki 2010 machine? I do not have a dealer in town and can't find a YouTube video on it. Yeah, sure, I can write that on my list. Actually, just, where's my machine? Yeah, it just has it has the 2 top screws on it to replace that. But yeah, I'll write that down for a video, needle plate.
I think Christina said she did hers.
Christina says it's super easy. Her husband got the screws loose for me, and then it took like 2 minutes. Oh, that sounds like a demo you could do.
You sound very excited about that.
I know you liked doing that LED sewing light video so much, so.
Sarah's very good at planning stuff. I just like to go, wing it off the cuff. No scripts, no outlines. Just roll with it. If it stinks.
Well, I have to plan it because I'm not the kind of person that can get on video and just just talk for an hour. I need to have I have my outline for tonight. Got to do that to make the videos work. Debbie says, any thoughts of creating a pen pencil holder for a kid's binder for school? Oh, a binder. Someone did a modification on the I Spy pouch, and she puts Mariana from Marvelous Auntie M. She put grommets on the bottom of the I Spy pouch so that it could go inside a 3-ring binder.
Fair enough.
I think it was from a while ago, perhaps from last year. But I think she added just a little bit of fabric to the bottom. I'll have to look that up. It should be in the Facebook group, though. B says, can I use foam that is not covered, or would you put a lightweight fusible on it first? I absolutely do not recommend what they call naked foam, which is just the foam with no... When you purchase foam interfacing, it usually has a really light and thin layer of fabric on the top and the bottom, which makes it easy to go through your sewing machine. If you buy the naked foam with no fabric covering on top and the bottom, it's a nightmare to get through the machine. So if you already have some and you just need to use it up, I would put either fabric or like Shape Flex interfacing on the bottom layer, the opposite layer where you put your fabric, just so you can get it through your machine without a bunch of headaches. Tasha says, recommendation on good pins that don't bend easily. I use clips for edges, but where I have to use pins, I bend them all. So I have that problem with a lot of pins. I got, where are they? late last year, I got these, I think they're called magic pins. They have on one end silicone, so you can actually touch them with your iron and they won't melt. But they do still, I feel like they're a little bit stronger than regular pins with the plastic heads, but not a whole lot. You could use those magnetic, they have these magnetic strips called Sew Tights. So if you need to pin an area, like say in the middle of your bag where you can't use a Wonder Clip, you may consider using those little Sew Tight strips instead. The only problem that I found with those is the magnets don't hold through.
Pretty strong.
Yeah.
Not.
Oh. The magnets on the Sew Tights don't hold through 2 layers of foam interfacing, so if that's where you need to use it, then they won't work. But if you're just using like a 1 layer of foam and a few layers of fabric and interfacing, the Sew Tights should be able to work if you're talking about the middle section of fabric or of a bag. Julie says, Google says list of recipe ingredients is not copyrighted, but the directions, explanation, etc. are, especially if it is in a cookbook. Oh, that's good to know. I wouldn't have even thought of that. Okay.
I like this one.
Karen says, I'm a teacher and snow days equal sew days. Have you had any snow days yet? They help me get projects done, so maybe they could give you some extra time. I'll let you answer that.
We've not had any snow days. We're having great weather. It feels like we're in like southern United States because it's been like 45, 50 past 3 days. It rained a little bit yesterday, but generally our weather, knock on wood, has been amazing.
I only recall shoveling once.
We had in fall, we had a few days of snow. Maybe we got like, I don't know, 7 inches or something like that. And that was at the end of November.
I remember it was really wet snow because the snowblower wouldn't
it was stuck in there,
suck the snow up, and it was really heavy to shovel.
Says it cannot be copyrighted for recipes.
Oh, you want to put that one up there from Dawn? Dawn says, did you say 1 recipe per person? Oh, I did say 1 recipe, so your most favorite recipe. I'm not sure how many recipes have come in yet. Robin could probably tell you, but we just didn't want it to be like a 500 recipe cookbook. Susan says, where and how to oil my Juki. I'm not sure if I talked about that in the sewing machine video. I might have. I don't recall. Last year we did a video on my Juki sewing machine, and I might have showed the places to oil then. If not, it should be in your manual though. There's just a few places. Christina says it was 83 here today. Christina lives in Florida. Oh gosh, 83 sounds really nice. Kathy says mid-70s in Louisiana.
Not bad.
Oh, I like that one from Valerie. If you want to put that one up. Valerie says, I use the yellow head quilter's pins and they are pretty strong. I don't think I have any of those. I just have various pins in the sewing room, but I think I latched onto these because they came in this little case. Audrey says, I have found that quilting pins bend more easily than dressmaker pins. That's good to know. I see a lot of comments coming through about the weather. I think it's supposed to be cold again here in Chicago, though. End of the week, like 20s or something like that. Looks like we're going to have questions.
Most comments are rolling through.
Okay.
Just wait. Right. Kick back, relax, take it easy.
Well, I feel like I'm kind of in the mood for ice cream, so maybe unless
I
anyone
bought that
has
ice cream.
I know. Oh, Renee says I did mention where. Oh, that's a good one. Renee mentioned through the comments that I did mention where I oil in my Juki when I did the demonstration on the precision oiler. I have a really short memory, and honestly, we do a lot of, especially on Social Sunday, sewing tutorial videos, so sometimes I don't recall exactly what I talked about when or things like that. Gretchen says T-pins is a great idea. Oh, that is a good idea. I like that. Right here. Lillian says, how about doing a demo on different types of linings? I had no idea what is a drop-in lining. I guess I could do that. Barbara says, can you make a demo for pleated inside pockets? I do have that on my list. I just have not gotten to it yet. It is on my list, though. I will get to it, Barbara, I promise. Karen says, what is a good place to buy cam snaps? I've purchased them in the past from Etsy. I don't have a certain Etsy shop that springs to mind, but I bought some recently because I needed to refresh some of my colors, and I bought those on Etsy. Laura says, what type of thread do you use when you are bag making? So my favorite is Aurifil 40 weight thread. I have some 50 weight thread as well, which is 50 weight is thinner than 40 weight. I've used both for making bags. I've not ever come across a bag that's ripped, but I would prefer 40 weight over the 50 weight. Laura says, what is the thickest leather that you would recommend for most of the bags? Does garment leather work? It depends on the garment leather. Some garment leathers are stretchy, and I feel like a stretchy leather would sort of work against you when using it for a bag. I don't know that I've actually purchased real authentic leather. I know Old City Quilt sells leather in lots of different colors. I don't know if they still do. I've gotten some samples from them in the past, and theirs was really high quality. So if Old City Quilts does still stock that leather, I would get it from them because it was beautiful and the colors were really gorgeous as well. Could you show us the use of a twin needle? Actually, I cannot, and the reason is because my sewing machine is a straight stitch only machine, and so it only has one tiny needle hole, so it actually won't, a twin needle won't actually work on my sewing machine because there's not holes to the side of that single hole on my needle plate. And I actually, yeah, I don't have any machines in this house that'll work with the twin needle. I have used it in the past. But unfortunately, I currently, at this time, will not be able to demonstrate for you because my machine won't accommodate a twin needle. Newman says, I made the Baker Street bag and I didn't see what to do with the end of the zipper. It's just hanging there. What step did I miss? So in the Baker Street bag, I don't recall off the top of my head what step number, but there's a little piece of fabric called a zipper tab that you sew onto the zipper end of the zipper. Might want to just glance over the pattern. I think it's either 1 or 2 steps in the pattern, applying that little piece of fabric, and that finishes the end of that zipper. Deborah says, what can I do to ensure my lining is not so baggy? That is my biggest problem. So it depends on the bag that you're working on. Some bags, like some styles of bags, let me grab if I have any Sidewinder pouches in here. Yeah, I do. So some style bags, especially a bag with like a side panel like this, while you're assembling the bag, before you go ahead and turn everything right side out, you can tack your exterior seam to the lining seam, and you don't have to sew the whole seam. Just for instance, just this top straight edge over here before you get to the curve. So what I mean by tacking the seams is, let me try to show you with this piece of paper. So you would line up, here would be the exterior seam and here would be the lining seam. I'm just going to arbitrarily decide you used a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So you would just tack the seams together using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So that would secure those 2 seams over here, and do the same thing on the opposite side. And that way when your bag is open, your lining will be stuck to the top edge of the bag because you tacked the exterior seam to the lining seam. Hopefully that's not too confusing sounding. Another method to do that, again, depending on the bag that you're working on, is you can always take in the lining seam, increase it a little bit. So start off at the proper seam allowance and then increase it by maybe an extra 1/4 of an inch, sew that seam, and then when you get down to the opposite end, come back to the correct seam allowance. And again, that'll vary, but you just want to sort of slightly increase the seam and sort of again, like I said, start off with the correct seam and sort of veer it in toward a bigger seam to get the lining to fit better. So there's a few different methods for doing that. Maybe I'll talk about that on a future Social Sundays show. Linings. Tighter linings. Kathy says, would a garment steamer be okay to use inside of a bag? I don't see why not. I have one. I actually gave it away because I was not using it. But I did have a garment steamer. It had like a big water tank, and it was on a pole with a, what's that called in the vacuum cleaner? The end with the bristles?
Nozzle?
Nozzle.
I don't know.
Yeah, it had a nozzle with bristles. I don't see why not.
Cleaning head?
Yeah,
vacuum head?
a vacuum head. Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't use that on the inside of the bag. That should be okay. Kathy says, I downloaded the tapered corners pattern. Would you consider having it made into the plastic templates? Oh, that's a good suggestion. I think I really need to revisit, especially some of the free videos that we did, like the cork zipper pouch, and consider having those made into templates, because I know people make a lot of those smaller projects, also like the tapered corners, and that would be good for a template also. and inexpensive since it's such a small pattern piece. Roxy says, does Danny do demos on embroidery software? I have an embroidery machine, but have not learned the way to use my computer with it. That was a question for you, actually.
Well, we're not using the embroidery machine, so I don't see how that applies yet. I thought you could answer that one.
I'm trying to think in my head where would it be a good place to see demonstrations on embroidery software.
YouTube.
YouTube, no specific person. My friend Sue O'Very does embroidery patterns, so you might want to check with her. And her name's Sue O'Very. Check her website. Perhaps she has some demonstrations on her website. I'm trying to think who else I know that does embroidery. There's several people. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Lottie says, I only have a 10 by 12 piece of cork left. Want to make a pouch to go with the wallet I made with the same cork. What pattern can I use with a small piece of cork and a coordinating fabric? So you could use the cork, I think it's called the cork zipper pouch video on my YouTube channel. It's like a quick 10-minute project, and that piece will be plenty for that particular project. You might even be able to get 2 out of that for a 10 by 12 piece. I'm not entirely sure. But check for that one on the YouTube channel. Armina says, maybe in the future we can have a quilt block club and each member makes 1 block and a designated member wins all the blocks, maybe a lottery. The winner gets the quilt top quilted and shares with the club. Oh yeah, that's kind of like a traveling, I've had friends in the past do like a traveling quilt along. So each person makes a block for that person's quilt and then they send it on to the next person and the next, and it's like a traveling quilt. That's a fun idea.
I think it's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Bronwyn's always so clever.
Danny's too tired for ice cream. Bronwyn the giver. Oh, yes. Gail says, just curious, but you spoke once about not having an applique stitch available to you, but doesn't your embroidery machine have decorative stitches? It does. I was thinking of my sewing machine. My sewing machine doesn't have like for example, a blanket stitch. But yes, the embroidery machine would be able to handle that for me. Definitely. Oh, this is a good question. Connie says, tried to add my photo of the Metro bag for January. That's the January Minikins Challenge on my blog. But it says the photo is too large. How do I reduce the size of the photo? So this is a common issue with especially cell phone photos, because cell phones take photos that are very large in file size. You'll just need to, unfortunately, resize your photo. And there's a bunch of free websites and apps on your cell phone that can do that. I really like the website called PicMonkey. It's P-I-C and then the word monkey. Or if you're on your cell phone, there's a free app called A Color Story, and that's a really good one. I have that on my cell phone. I like that one a lot as well. So both of those I've used, and I feel like they're both very, very easy to use. And you can resize your photo on there. You can even add change the colors. It has a lot of free filters to kind of spiff up your colors, either make it brighter, color adjustments. You can put text on your photo. So lots of fun things to do in PicMonkey or A Color Story. Let's see. Laura says, I am in a quilt group. We do the quilt block. There's 24 of us per quilt. That's super interesting. We're going to have a free quilt along, free video quilt along later this summer. So maybe that would be an option for something like that. Allison says, have you used an iron ham before? I do. I actually have one in the sewing room. I have a tailor's clapper as well. The iron ham would be I was thinking of that ham when that question came through about the steamer. So a ham is basically a shape in the shape of a small ham that you would buy from the grocery store, and it's covered with fabric and stuffed really tightly, and you can put it in your bags or other objects or garments and iron over like a curved area. Or it would be helpful for the corners of a bag because you could stick it in the bag and iron it from the outside. Arlene says, if he's too tired for ice cream, then give Danny some gelato. I love gelato. There's a place by our house that has it, and Violet's favorite combination is lemon gelato with cookies and cream. And just thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that doesn't sound good, but she loves it, and she gets it anytime she can get it. Debbie says, did you announce last week's winner? I
hope you did.
I didn't. Wait, did I? Let me check my notebook.
After the show, you said you were...
I know. I write it down in my notebook, so that's the best way to check. Let's see. I didn't write it down. I got to do that after tonight. I'm so sorry. I did not. It's not written down, so I did not announce it. Tara says, I have a question. If we want to send a really tardy postcard, is the P.O. Box still open? So the P.O. Box is open till the end of January. So there's a few weeks left for that. And then I will be giving up my P.O. Box key after that.
No ice cream for you for failing to pick a winner. People are pretty upset. I'm saying I see the comments rolling through at least maybe one. So, I mean, that's just the start of it, Sarah. You're really lacking here.
I know.
I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
I'm having a hard time getting back up.
Violet, you're filling in for Mom next week.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, so much for watching Ask Sarah. I'll get to that giveaway winner as soon as the chat's done. Danny, you are not allowed to let me leave this room until I take care of that. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you this Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Have a great rest of the week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.
Everyone.